as we've talked about in the past, this content, this user-generated content, is working really well in direct response. You're listening to the Brand Growth Project with myself, Ryan McKenzie, and Rob J. Green. And today we're talking about how you can harvest customer reviews to create user-generated content that you can use inside your direct response marketing campaigns.
Awesome, man. Thanks for the little intro there. And I'm excited to jump in and chat about reviews a bit here, because I think it's something that, businesses talk about, right? And we know the power of reviews and believable reviews, right? That consumers actually see and believe, like we have with, say, Amazon reviews and all of that. I mean, Amazon has really made reviews a massive piece of the online, trust puzzle, if you will. And so I'm excited to talk a little bit about not only why we want to be harvesting those reviews, right? But also, really more importantly, how we get those reviews, right? And then how we can leverage those reviews as a brand inside our business to really maximize the benefit, maximize the sales, and maximize the overall impact that those have on the business. So when you're looking at reviews within your business there, Brian, what are some things that jump to mind as kind of ways that those reviews can really be helpful and be leveraged?
I mean, there's so many different angles you can use with reviews, but one of the things that people look for when they go to make a purchase is that they're not doing something stupid. So they don't want to buy something that's a poor quality product. They want to buy something that's actually going to solve their problem. And one of the first things they look for when they're making that purchase decision is a way to validate the claims that are happening on the purchase page. And the easiest way to do that is to look at the social proof, the reviews, and people do this on Amazon all the time. They scroll down, they look at the reviews, and they just try to validate that the product is going to solve the problem that they're experiencing. And the more social proof you can offer your potential buyer, the more validated they're going to feel and secure in their decision, and the likelihood of them making that purchase is going to go through the roof. So we've always implemented a little bit of social proof and reviews in all of our landing page copy, but it's something we're really pushing forward with, both landing page as well as even like at places like at the checkout or on sales form, making sure that there's relevant user-generated testimonial or review copy to make sure that the customer is feeling really secure in what they're about to purchase.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if you look at when we're thinking about Amazon, right, that having that on every single product page, that's a huge piece of the conversion of what happens on Amazon for products is really what that review is, right? Like that's really one of the first things that a user looks at. And when we're looking at the online landscape of e-commerce, and especially as we look at the direct-to-consumer side, so we have Amazon, that's a very large percentage of the online shopping, right? But then we have all of these direct-to-consumer sites, and it's so important to have that trust factor, and that especially if we're talking about scaling a direct-to-consumer brand using a large amount of paid media and cold audiences, right? If people are coming through seeing an ad, they see an ad, they click on the ad, they come to the site. Especially in this current climate where we have a lot of drop ship companies and
yes.
And a situation where many consumers have, especially over the last couple of years, there's been so many dropship companies on like advertising on channels like Facebook, right? So Facebook and Instagram, And so people have clicked on an ad, gone to the site, saw something they like, it looks trustworthy, they've bought it, and then they get a product that hardly even looks like what they ordered, and it takes 6-8 weeks to get there. And once a consumer has done that a few times, they are looking for those trust indicators that this isn't a dropship company, that this isn't something they're going to have a negative experience with, right? So they're really, really looking at that for sure.
100%. Yeah, you basically touched on the exact point that I wanted to mention, is that like with the variance in quality of both the product and services, like delivery, that people have had to, go through in the last year or two with all the drop shipping that's been happening, that is probably one of the biggest key indicators. They're going to look to see if people are complaining about delivery times and product quality. So I don't know, should we jump into I kind of touched on it a little bit, but a couple places that people can use these resources once they have them inside their business. So should just get rolling with that?
Yeah, no, definitely jump in, share some things and some areas that you think can be used, and then we'll keep going from there. That's perfect. I love it.
Cool. So I'll touch on how to go about getting these reviews in a second, but let's start out with where you can implement them. So, cool. The key places that you really want to make sure that you have these reviews are places where there's the most amount of friction. So places like your checkout page. It's obviously important that you have reviews that are related to the products that they're purchasing. You don't want to have something completely off. There's tools that can actually insert those dynamically, but that's one place. Another place, especially if you're doing e-commerce, is on your landing page. You want to have your star rating right by the price, and then that have like a link that slides down to lower on the page where they can see all the different customer reviews. I think, I know for me, it's like when I hit an e-commerce landing page, I check to see if the product matches, look at the pictures, I check the price, and then I want to see how many people have rated this. Like, does this have like a 1-star rating? Is it a 5-star rating? Is it one person that's rated it, or is it 50? So your landing page is huge. You can also use it inside social media or in ads. And I don't know if you want to touch a little bit on the ads, but as we've talked about in the past, this content, this user-generated content, is working really well in direct response.
For sure. I want to talk about ads in a second, for sure, when it comes to exactly how we're using reviews, really how we're using whether that be testimonials, quotes, whether that be reviews, star ratings, et cetera, how we're using those specifically, and what's working really well. But one thing that came up that I was thinking about when you were talking about that is around the concept of, because if we think, okay, so over the last couple of years, we've had a lot of dropship companies, a lot of people have been burned by those. So then we have that element of needing to add those trust indicators to our visitors and to our prospects, so that they know that we're a real company, that we sell quality products, that they can trust us, et cetera, right? And that's really where a lot of reviews come in. Now, what about that next element on there? What are your thoughts on the believability of reviews? Because around the piece of, like, when we start, you were talking about, having the number of reviews and the star rating near the price, et cetera. Because obviously in this, in this current climate, we have a lot of, a lot of people are selling on Shopify or other channels, but you've got these apps, right, that handle the reviews. And a lot of these apps have the ability to hide reviews, right, to not show all the reviews that the company gets on those products. And what are your thoughts around that believability of reviews? And if you go to a site and all you see is, say, a couple 100 5-star reviews and there's nothing else, you know what I mean? Is that likely accurate, or is that likely only the non-hidden reviews? What are your sort of thoughts on kind of where the industry's at right now, and potentially like how that's going to play out? I think it's an interesting next evolution here in the online trust piece, especially direct to consumer.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different apps that curate your testimonials and whatnot. And yeah, you definitely can apply filters so that ads that are under a certain amount of stars don't automatically get posted. I think ethically, that's questionable, but whether or not you completely limit them. Although on the other hand, you can use that as a tool to moderate them. And I think it looks, I actually think it hurts you if you don't have any 1 or 2 star ratings. Like there's always going to be somebody that's disappointed. Like that's just the way that life. And I think even if you do apply filters, I think it would be silly of you to not moderate and approve some legitimate reviews that are poor, especially ones that are tied to things like that they're disappointed it didn't quite work the way that they wanted it to, or maybe like things that are, people's expectations of the product are different than what they received, and things that they worked up in their own head. Because if you still have, like, when I look at reviews and they're like 60 or 70% of them, 75% of them are positive, and then there's a few people that are complaining. And I know I'm not everybody, but I know that there's going to be people that are upset with the experience or upset with something else, and they overreact and they wind up leaving some bad reviews. And why I think that is positive to show a few is that it shows that you're not manipulating the results, which I think, like, if 75% of your reviews are 4 and 5 stars, and then you have 1 or 2 that are one or 2 star ratings, like, it just goes to show you that there's somebody that probably had a bad experience, or somebody that's just a grouch, but it prevents you from looking like you're manipulating your results to skew them in a way that artificially builds trust.
No, I completely agree, because I think that the obviously there's the ethical piece of hiding poor reviews, right? That's obviously a big piece of the puzzle. But then when you actually look at from a marketing conversion piece, when we're just talking about the not talking about the ethical side, but actually talking about the effect on conversions and effect on the brand and the perception, that element of having some negative reviews makes the reviews believable. If they're all 5 or all 4 and 5 stars, it really actually takes away that believability a bit. But also, the other piece on that is, like you were saying, any of those, let's say that was 1 or 2 star reviews where the person elaborates on why they're giving that lower review. And in a perfect world, if it's a situation where they're essentially explaining in the review that they weren't actually, or the product wasn't actually a perfect fit for them or their needs, right? And a piece where essentially it's them going, this didn't work for me because of this. So something that when somebody reads it, if they also fit that specific situation, they'll now know it's not a perfect fit for them. And I think that's totally fine, right? It's totally fine. And when you're reading reviews, it's okay to have some of those that essentially disqualify some people who the product's actually not a fit for.
Right.
I think those are fantastic.
It's going to prevent, it's to prevent a few things. It's going to prevent negative reviews. It's going to prevent your customer service from having to spend time dealing with somebody who's unhappy, which costs you money. It's going to save you money on bringing the product back into your warehouse and restocking it. And, there is money to be made in disqualifying people who are not a right fit.
For sure. And reviews can do a really good job at that. But then the other piece, when we're talking about negative reviews, is yes, if you getting negative reviews, and especially a large number of negative reviews, it's not a great place to be in. But more importantly than talking about really the filters, et cetera, around that, it's if you're getting a large percentage of negative reviews, it's really using those reviews to learn, right? And going in and figuring out, often those pieces are the fact that the way it's being presented, or how you're targeting your ads, or some of your copy on your landing page is not doing a good job at disqualifying some people, right? So often it's, I mean, I'm of course looking at it going, you know, anyone who's listening to this is probably has a, you know, cares about their customer, does everything they can to have good service, has a quality product, does everything they can to improve the quality of their product, and so on and so forth. So taking all of it's around that foundation, right? That we've got a quality product, et cetera. But the idea that when you're getting a larger number of negative reviews than you feel like you should, it's looking at, is there ways to alter that copy, alter the targeting? Like if you're getting a large number of negative reviews and you start realizing that the users, the people, the customers who are leaving negative reviews happen to be over a certain age or under a certain age, it gives you the ability to go, oh, everybody within this age range really likes this product. And this happens a lot with some apparel type things, right? And different things where it happens to be that it's just not a perfect fit for certain age groups, right? So over a certain age or under a certain age, it just doesn't, it doesn't seem to land the same way, right? Or it's not quite as functional. And in situations like that, it allows you to change some of your messaging, change some of your targeting, and attract more of those people that are a perfect fit, and not waste some of your advertising on people who it won't be a perfect fit for, who you then sell to, who then are unhappy, who then return, that you have to restock, but you still paid to get that customer. So mining those negative reviews for both ways to improve the product, right? So ways to improve the product, but also ways to improve how you're talking about the product, who you're disqualifying, who you're advertising to, etc. For sure.
Totally, yeah. Like you kind of touched on it there at the end, but like not only do you find ways to hone in your avatar for that product, but you also find ways to improve the product, improve your fulfillment, your distribution. Like there's, you know, you could either embrace them, or you can use them as, or not use them as something. You can be scared of them and block them and hide them and try to run from them. But they're really opportunities in disguise.
Oh, you can systematically and incrementally improve your product, improve customer service, and then also improve your messaging, your marketing, all of those pieces from those negative reviews. And often we don't get the same amount of data from those positive reviews, right? The positive review is awesome. The person's happy. We can then leverage that, those positive reviews. We can leverage that to go get more customers, right? We can leverage that in our marketing, like we were talking about on, you know, a checkout page, a cart page, a product page, a landing page. We can use all those positive reviews to get more customers, but the negative reviews really give us the ability to learn and get better, which is really cool. So when we're thinking about now how people can get more reviews, what are some things that jump out to you as some more tactics around getting more reviews from customers?
So I mean, I'm kind of going to tie together how you can get reviews, and then how you can actually leverage those reviews in that process to create raving fans and get repeat buyers. So if you're just looking at this as like, I just want to get more reviews, that's fantastic, but it's also a great opportunity to get repeat buyers. So basically what we do is about 2 weeks after fulfillment, we'll send out an email. Email is pretty straightforward. Ask them to fill out a form, basically give us some feedback on the product. Usually at the bottom of the email, we'll also include a couple links to some other products if they don't feel like filling out the form. But pretty straightforward. Get them to give out their star, or how many stars. Ask them to upload an image or a video if they have it, and describe basically tell us what they thought of the product. When they complete that form, we actually send them to a thank you page, and on the thank you page, depending on the product or the business and how that whether that business does discounts and whatnot. Sometimes we'll offer them a 15% off coupon or 10% off coupon as a thank you for taking the time to fill out this form. Otherwise, sometimes we'll create a very special offer just for people that have completed the offer. We don't incentivize them in advance. I'm pretty sure there's probably some FTC legalities against bribing people or incentivizing them to do testimonials. But there's nothing wrong with offering them a reward after they've completed the process. So, you can either do this whole process through something like your Active Campaign, Infusionsoft, Klaviyo, whatever it is you're using, or you can use. There's a ton of different softwares out there that you can plug into just about any major platform. The biggest one is probably Yotpo. It's pretty pricey. I think it's over $10,000 a year. I think they charge you based on how many reviews you have. Some cheaper ones that work fantastic. I'm a big fan of Stamped.io. Very similar tool set as Yotpo. And then there's another affordable platform that a lot of people use is, I think it's Judge.me, Judge.me. And it's basically $15 a month for their full meal deal. But personally, I use Stamped. It's Stamped.io, and it literally will send the email from their own platform. It can connect directly to Shopify, or if you're using your own proprietary platform or ClickFunnels or something, you can use a Zapier connection to push in all the data, even pull in old data so that you can send requests to customers, that purchased from you even like a year or two ago. So that is my implementation. Once I know that you have a few different ways you do it, Rob, but I'd like to hear kind of what your take is on, and maybe even like some template ideas for what you do in the advertising world when you get these reviews. Like, how do you use them to create ads that basically users love?
Yeah, when it comes to what's working, if you will, right now, I think part of the reason why reviews, testimonials, and all of that is working really, really well actually within the ads is just a extension of that trust factor we were talking about. Because in the past, we've had all of these ads, especially within, I'm going to talk specifically on this about within the social ads arena. So within that Instagram, Facebook world, obviously what you take here and what works within this world, if you're talking about from a video standpoint or how you work them into a video, that of course translates really, really nicely over to YouTube and all that. But I'm just going to talk Facebook and Instagram for this. But I think that part of the reason that these elements in your advertising is working so well right now is that, like we were talking about, we've had this short-term history here where people have been burned by these, dropship companies, et cetera. And so not only is there a trust factor needed to convert the sale on the site, but there's also a trust factor needed in the advertising itself to make the ad jump out and position you as a brand, as a real brand that cares about your customers, that has, valuable, who provides real value, who has quality products, et cetera. So by working these elements into your ads, your top of funnel, when you're first introducing your brand to potential customers, they're getting that trust element right away. And then you're having those reviews and testimonials throughout that funnel, right? Your landing page or your product page, onto your checkout page, et cetera. So from an ad standpoint, there's a couple of very, very formulaic, basically templates that are working really, really, really well right now. So if we're looking at kind of really some tactics of how we could take a really strong customer review and use that, if we're to jump and look at, say, Facebook and Instagram, right? Essentially with a Facebook ad, right? You have that text area, right? Above your creative. So you've got a video or an image or a carousel or whatever you like, but we have that text area above. And that text area above, we also have a text area in the actual text of an Instagram post as well, right? An Instagram ad. So in general, one really, really easy way to do it, if you've got a lot of strong 5-star reviews, so let's say you've got your overall, your reviews of the product would average at basically 5 stars, right? So you're in that sort of level. If it was 4 stars, you could use 4 in this case as well. But basically, one thing that's working really well, you actually take basically a little character that is a star, right? You can actually go and if you're looking to get a star character, just do a Google search for like cut and paste characters. You'll find a whole bunch of character sets on web pages that you can actually just go and cut and paste a little star, right? So you're gonna take your star and you would put 5 stars. You basically put 5 stars. So 5-star reviews, you would write that. And then depending on the length of your reviews, you're going to below that, you're gonna actually put, you're actually gonna quote a portion of those reviews. You could do. I've seen anything from one really good review work well up to putting multiple reviews right in that text copy. So that can sometimes get to be a long text area, right? If you've got 4 or 5 good reviews that go in there, but you actually use quotation marks, you put the review, you put a dash and put the person's first name, last initial, or whatever you're collecting there that you're comfortable putting in there. And you're basically taking that and making that the text portion. And one recommendation with that, because this is the text that's accompanying your creative, you don't just want 5-star reviews where the people say, love the product, did exactly what it said it would, etc. Because if you're introducing people to the product, if this is also selling the product, not only trust, but selling the product, then you need to make sure, especially the first review or 2 that you use, that the person is referencing the benefits the product provides. Because this is actually what's going to sell the product as well. So let's say that you have a problem. There's a problem that your product solves, right? Your product's a solution. You need to make sure that especially the first review that you take is somebody saying, I never expected there would actually be a solution to this. Do you know what I mean? Or this made my blank, whatever. Do you know what I mean? So this cured such and such, this, whatever, right? So it really needs to be that they are calling out the benefit and that solution in that review. And then some of your other reviews that you choose to use, they may be a little more general and just loving your product, but that's okay because you've already now positioned what the product does. So that's one really, 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 really easy way to throw those reviews into an ad from basically creating a new ad angle, right? Essentially an angle for the ad and that being, really review focused. One other thing that I wanted to speak to on that is if you're creating videos for your brand, for a product, it's really, really valuable. If you're creating videos, you're probably adding some text overlay to that video, right? So you're probably calling out some of that problem, solution, a little bit of the story. You probably have captions and all of that because obviously most people watch ads with no sound on. So with that text overlay portion, as you're going through the video, you can actually add the same type of thing where you basically add those actual characters. So 5 stars, you actually add stars as part of that text overlay along with customer quotes. Obviously, if they're text overlay, they're probably gonna be shorter customer quotes, but it's a great way to just add that social proof element to a video to put it over the edge for someone. And last thing I really want to talk about on the ad side is what we talked about so far is how we actually use the quotes themselves, right? So how we actually use a review as a quote or as a testimonial right in the ad or in a video. Another really, really powerful thing you can do is use your reviews as a place to find the messaging for your ads and to find the words that your customers use to describe their problem or describe the feelings of getting that benefit from your product. So actually, essentially mining those reviews for the actual words and angles you can use in your ads. And that is a really, really powerful way for you to be able to actually articulate the problem that your product solves in a way that exactly how, basically, one of the classics in marketing is basically your ability to, as the advertiser, right, promoting a product, the ability to enter the conversation that's already happening in your prospect's mind. And
Right.
this is a way for you to actually discover the conversation that's happening in your customer's mind. And that's another really powerful way for you to use those testimonials. And one final little kind of bonus thing on there, if you're just launching your product, you've just launched a product, and you don't have any reviews or anything yet, you can, when you're trying to figure out the copy to use in your marketing, you can go to Amazon, go to other competitors, look at their reviews, look at how customers are talking about the products, talking about their problems, talking about the solution, and mine those initially. And then once you have your own first-party data, if you will, when you actually have your own reviews, you're going to be able to improve on that even more. But those are three really, really, really good ways.
Sorry, I'd like to add one other thing to that, the last bit about Amazon, because a lot of times if somebody's selling something that's very like problem solution type of product, especially if it's an info type product, a lot of times there aren't a lot of books that already exist kind of on like that micro topic. So if you have like a more of a micro topic or a micro problem that you're solving, another way that you can get reviews, or sorry, not reviews, but language to use, is if you go to YouTube and you search for the problem or a symptom of the problem, and you find a video that has been helping a lot of people, and you can actually look at the comments on that video, and people will oftentimes give very specific symptoms or language that is tied to that problem that you could easily repurpose inside your copy. So
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
That's the same as you can also do that with something like, say, Quora, right? Quora,
Yeah,
or Reddit can also find some threads like that. I mean, and if we were to go back a few years, the recommendation would obviously be going and looking at some of the forums, right, in that industry or around that problem, et cetera. And there still are some forums, but there's a little bit less. There are a little less active forums out there than there used to be. So definitely, but YouTube's a fantastic one.
Totally. Cool. So yeah, that's basically our little dialogue today on why you should use your customer reviews, how you can get them, and how you can leverage them to make more money and create better ads and grow your brand.
Fantastic, man. That was awesome. I really enjoyed where that went, and some of the, there was stuff we talked about in here that I didn't even expect we were going to talk about. That was fantastic.
Yeah, sometimes they work out that way.
No, it's awesome.
Cool, man. Well, how can people find you, Rob, if they would like to connect?
You can find me on Instagram, Facebook at Rob J. Green Official, or you can track me down at robjgreen.com. How about you, Ryan?
You can find me on Twitter at the Rye, R-Y-E, McKenzie, McKenzie, or on Facebook at the Rye McKenzie.
Fantastic, man. Great chatting with you today. I look forward to our next call. I look forward to it.
Sounds good, bud. Have a good one.
Cheers. Have a good one.